Stand back, I'm being brave. Stalkers are bad. Just deranged individuals, absolute sick weirdos. And I just learned about a new stalker I didn't know existed until Matt sent me this video where he went to court and immediately just proclaimed he's guilty as charged. It's Caitlin Clark's stalker. And this guy looks like he was biologically engineered to end up as a lunatic stalker. He looks exactly like what you imagine, like that caricature you make in your head, of an obsessed loser.
Morning, Mr. Lewis.
Guilty as
No, sir. This is initial hearing.
Oh.
We are not. You have a right to remain silent, and I expect you to exercise that. Okay, this is just telling you what the charges are. You do not listen. I'll give you a chance to talk. It's not your time.
Throw me the bookie.
Stop talking.
Buddy really thought this was going to be like his Joker moment. I bet he thought that line went really hard. Or maybe he really does recognize that the world is a better place with him locked away, because he is begging the judge to just throw the book at him. Buddy stares right down the pipe on the camera, so I'm guessing he wanted to make like a famous moment for himself out of all of this. He looks like Charles Manson if he had a Funko Pop addiction.
Charging documents lay out how prosecutors say a man, quote, terrorized, frightened, and intimidated one of the country's most popular athletes. Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. Michael Lewis faces a felony stalking charge after allegedly traveling to Indianapolis to be near her.
Now, Mr. Looney Lewis was sending threatening and sexual messages to Caitlin Clark on Twitter, mainly. And the messages, or at least some of them, are still there. Like, some of the tweets are still there. It's a ton. He very much was infatuated with her, obsessed, and even traveled to Indianapolis to be close to her. Very dangerous, unhinged shit. His most recent messages are kind of nonsensical gibberish, though I can make out the first one there, which is "you buyin'." Very much sounds like the Resident Evil 4 weapons merchant. But the one after that, "you be coffalogopus," okay? Don't know what the fuck that is. He must have just flopped his meat on the keyboard and just hit enter. That is actual nothingness. And then as you continue to scroll through his tweets, they become a little more lucid, and they're almost always directed at Caitlin Clark, directly to her, except for these two right there, where I guess he was arguing with someone. And then it's right back onto his life's mission of being in this imaginary relationship with Caitlin Clark. This is the people you're arguing with on Twitter, by the way. Assuming they're not just bots, which a lot of the platform is. The actual flesh, blood, and cringe that are just constantly fighting on Twitter like professional tweeters. This is what they look like in real life, by the way. Anyway, though, if you just scroll through his fucking Twitter, it's nothing but him talking about being with Caitlin Clark. He also has this fixation on making out. He constantly mentions, "You want to make out with me? When are we making out? Hey, let's start making out." He speaks as though the only thing he's ever watched in his life is Degrassi, and now he's under the impression that that's how people talk to one another. It's so odd. It's so weird. It just goes on and on and on. Like, these are all from the same day. Do you even like to make out? The one before that is, once again, no spaces. Your puss needs a real good pounding. You're not into like, it's just, it's absolute insanity. He is very clearly a textbook definition of a dangerous stalker. He even went to her area to be near her. And I'm absolutely shocked that the authorities did something. They don't usually take stalking super seriously, but in this case, he's getting charged. They apprehended him, and it looks like they are going to throw the bookie at him, as he said, which I think is great. They may have just saved her life, because these kind of people, they snap. We've seen this shit happen tons and tons of times. And how many stories have we, like on the channel, gone over where stalkers weren't taken seriously and then something really bad happened, and then all of a sudden the most preventable tragedy ever unfolds. So I'm happy to see they're actually doing something about this.
Police say he admitted it is a, quote, imaginary relationship, with dozens of posts on X directly tagging Clark, including a number of threatening and sexually explicit messages, according to prosecutors, even posting after an initial encounter with police. An attorney for Lewis hasn't been listed online.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Usually I'm wrong, but in this case, I feel very confident. I think he's going to represent himself. I'm very certain of it. I think he's going to waive his right to an attorney and say, fuck it, we'll do it live, and he's going to do it himself. That's my prediction. We'll see how it unfolds, but I just wanted to lock that one in, so if it happens, I look like a goddamn prophet for it. Now, even outside of that short video clip, it doesn't seem the rest of the proceeding was a slam dunk for him. It was clear from just that short 30 seconds the judge was already really fed up with that behavior, but he continued to have other outbursts. He even contradicted himself, claiming that the prosecutors got the wrong guy because they didn't attach Junior to his name. Overall, he just wasn't treating it very seriously, even though he could face up to like 6 years in jail from what I was reading. But he just doesn't seem to give a fuck. So he's from Texas, and apparently lives in his vehicle, drove it to Indianapolis, and was arrested at a hotel in Indianapolis after posting the messages and saying things like, getting tickets, I'm sitting behind the bench. And then he even makes this tweet here, which references that they are actively coming for him. They said I was sending threatening texts, but the only thought on my mind was, Caitlin! Caps lock. Interestingly enough, I went to the first tweet from Michael Lewis, and it's from January 7th. So he hasn't really been doing this for all that long, but every single tweet since January 7th, all 887 of them, pretty much, are directed to Caitlin Clark. So his first one, no greater love than to lay down your life, ... So he's a relatively new stalker. He's still in his rookie season here. He's been doing it for about 2 weeks, and it was so egregious that authorities are actually acting on it, which is a good thing. I also think there's a chance that this isn't his first time stalking. After going through so many of his tweets, I feel like he's probably done this to others, but not on this account. I feel like he probably makes accounts like this. The name of this account is RacerX2031. That's an Xbox Live generated gamertag, basically. That's fucking nothing. So I bet he probably makes specific accounts for the sole purpose of stalking individuals, and this one was for Caitlin Clark, his most recent obsession. But I just get the feeling he's definitely done this in the past, too. That's just a hunch, though. Either way, really good news that he has been taken in by authorities. Fucking weirdo stalker. That's really about it. So yeah.